It began on a night like any other. The air was cool and still. Stars glittered like scattered diamonds on black velvet. And there, hanging in the sky, was the moon. It was a familiar friend, a silent guardian. Lovers held hands beneath its gentle light. Children dreamed of astronauts walking on its dusty surface. We looked up at it and felt a sense of peace. It was a constant, a beautiful, predictable orb that had watched over humanity for all of time. We saw our own stories reflected in its pale, cratered face. It was our moon, a part of our world, a silent companion on our lonely journey through the cosmos. Across the globe, people felt its pull, a gentle, rhythmic comfort. Telescopes were pointed toward its seas of tranquility. Poets wrote verses about its ethereal glow. It was a symbol of romance, of mystery, of quiet contemplation. The moon asked for nothing, it simply was. Its presence was a soft hum in the background of our lives, a reliable anchor in the vast dark ocean of space. We trusted it. We believed we understood its cycles, its phases, its silent dance with our planet. We were so very wrong. We saw beauty, but we never once suspected we were being watched by something ancient. That night, the light felt different. It was brighter, somehow sharper. The shadows it cast seemed deeper, darker, as if they were hiding secrets. People on their nighttime walks paused, looking up with a strange, unnameable feeling stirring in their chests. It was a subtle shift, a change in the atmosphere that you could feel on your skin. The air grew heavy. The usual nocturnal sounds of crickets and distant cars seemed to fade away, replaced by a profound, unnerving silence. The world held its breath, waiting for something it could not name. The moon hung there, brighter than ever, a perfect, luminous pearl. Something was wrong. It was a feeling that started in the gut, a primal instinct screaming that the natural order had been disturbed. Dogs began to whine, hiding under tables with their tails tucked between their legs. Birds fell silent in their nests. We, the people of Earth, stood on our lawns and balconies, staring upward. The familiar comfort was gone, replaced by a thread of cold apprehension. The moon was still our moon, wasn't it? It was just a rock in space, a beautiful dead rock. But the feeling persisted, growing stronger with every passing moment. A collective shiver ran down the spine of the world. The change was slow at first, so slow that many dismissed it. Scientists on late-night shifts saw anomalies in their data. The moon's orbital path trembled just for a moment, a slight, almost imperceptible shudder. It was like a sleeping giant stirring in its bed. The gravitational readings flickered erratically. The experts checked their instruments, rebooted their computers, and blamed solar flares or technical glitches. They could not accept what their machines were telling them. The moon, our constant companion, was not behaving as it should. It was breaking the sacred laws of physics. Then the surface began to move. It was not a moonquake. It was something else entirely. The familiar patterns of craters and seas, the face of the man in the moon began to shift. The dark patches, the Maria, seemed to flow like ink spilled on water. The lines of craters rearranged themselves into new, unsettling patterns. Amateur astronomers were the first to see it clearly, their hands trembling as they adjusted their lenses. They watched in disbelief as the geography of the moon warped before their very eyes. It was not rock. It was something else. Something pliable. Something alive. Panic began as a whisper, then grew into a roar. News channels broke into their regular programming with grainy, terrifying footage from observatories. The images were undeniable. The moon was changing. It pulsed with a faint inner light, a sickly, pale luminescence that was not reflected from the sun. It seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting in a slow, monstrous rhythm. The world watched, united in a single, paralyzing fear. We were witnessing the impossible. The sky, our beautiful, predictable sky, had become a source of profound dread. The moon was no longer a symbol of peace. The feeling of being watched intensified. It was no longer a vague premonition. It was a certainty. Every person on the planet felt it, a cold, piercing pressure in the back of their minds. It was the feeling of a predator's gaze. We were small, helpless creatures under the scrutiny of something immense and utterly alien. We closed our curtains, but we could still feel it. We hid in our homes, but there was no escape from the sky. The moon was everywhere, its strange new light seeping through the cracks, its presence a weight on our souls. The age of wonder was over. The age of fear had begun. The moment of true horror arrived without a sound. There was no explosion, no cosmic roar. There was only a quiet, sickening transformation in the heavens above. A great, dark chasm began to open on the moon's surface. It was a line at first, a crack in the luminous shell. It widened slowly, deliberately. The shifting plains and seas of dust pulled apart, like flesh being torn. From within the growing abyss, the pale, sickly light pulsed with greater intensity. It was the light of something ancient, something that had been waiting for eons in the dark. The chasm formed the shape of an eyelid, a colossal planetary eyelid, stretching for thousands of miles across the lunar face. It rose with an agonizing slowness, revealing what lay beneath. It was not rock or magma, it was something organic, something wet and glistening. The world watched, frozen in a state of pure, undiluted terror. The stories, the myths, the nightmares of humanity had never conceived of such a thing. This was not a monster from under the bed. This was a monster that filled our entire sky, a being whose scale was beyond our comprehension. And then the eye opened. A vast, luminous orb stared out from the wound in the moon. Its pupil was a bottomless pit of black, and its iris was a swirling galaxy of colors we had never seen before. It was an eye that held no emotion we could recognize. Not anger, not hatred. Only a cold, ancient, and profound awareness. It fixed its gaze upon the earth. It saw our cities, our oceans, our forests. It saw every one of us. In that single, unblinking stare, we felt our own insignificance. We were nothing more than dust motes on a tiny blue marble. The world fell into a stunned, horrified silence. All activity ceased. Cars stopped in the middle of highways. Lights went out in homes. The collective scream of humanity was trapped in its throat. We were no longer masters of our world. We were specimens in a jar, observed by a cosmic entity we could never hope to understand. The moon was not a dead rock. It was a creature, an ancient sleeping god. And now, after countless millennia of silent slumber, it had finally woken up. It was watching us, and we did not know what it wanted. The world we knew is gone forever. The sky is no longer a source of wonder, but a permanent reminder of our own fragility. The moon, our moon, is now the watcher. Its gaze never falters, its eye never blinks. It hangs over us during the day, a ghostly, terrifying presence in the blue sky. At night, it dominates the darkness, its ethereal light a constant source of dread. We live under its unwavering scrutiny, and the psychological toll is immense. People rarely go outside after dark anymore. The stars themselves seem to shrink away from its terrible majesty. Science, religion, philosophy, all have been shattered. Our attempts to explain the universe now seem like the naive babbling of children. What is the purpose of physics when the heavens themselves defy it? What comfort can faith offer against a God that is real, visible, and utterly alien? We are small, and the universe is vast and filled with horrors we cannot imagine. The eye in the sky has taught us the ultimate lesson. We are not special. We are simply an accident, a brief flicker of life in a cosmos that is ancient, intelligent, and terrifyingly alive. We live in a new age, an age of cosmic dread. The world is changing under the moon's gaze. The tides are erratic, causing catastrophic floods. Strange new forms of life, twisted and alien, have begun to appear in the deepest parts of the ocean, drawn to the surface by the moon's call. People's dreams are filled with impossible geometries and whispers in a language that can drive a person mad. We are being unmade, reshaped into something new and horrifying by the sheer presence of this cosmic being. We are the children of a new, monstrous God. And the most terrifying thought of all is this: the moon woke up. What else is sleeping out there in the infinite silent darkness between the stars? What other ancient eyes are waiting to open? The moon may have been the first, but we have a chilling certainty that it will not be the last. Our sky is no longer empty. It is a waiting room, a place where monsters stir. We look up at the unblinking eye, and we know our story is no longer our own. We are just a single chapter in a much larger, much older, and much more terrible tale.